What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to Bourbon of the Week. My name is Chris. I'm going to be your host for today, and we are getting into it, folks. Russell's Reserve, 15 years. It took me a little while to get my hands on this, but thanks to Sherry over at Bourbon Besties, I am finally able to pour this up, put it on our list, and a lot of people are calling this the whiskey of the year, but we're about to find out here on Bourbon of the Week if this is a contender or not. Everybody knows before we get started on all of that, time for the traditional sip. Cheers, y'all. It's going to be a contender. So I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm sure you've seen plenty of reviews on Russell's Reserve 15 already. I'm not going to tell you anything that you probably don't already know other than my opinion on this. We're also going to talk about the word value today during my thoughts on what I've been thinking and then compare that to what price is, because price and value, this was brought up by another creator who I'll mention during that time. Price and value just isn't the same thing, especially in the whiskey world. So we're going to talk about that today, but let's start with it. 117.2 proof, price, taste, drinkability. We always start with drinkability. How much ethanol kick is there for 117 proof? Now, you may or may not know this, but I am a Russell's Reserve fanatic. I actually just put out a video, I'll put it up above here somewhere, that did Russell's Reserve Camp Nelson A versus B versus C versus E and F. I think we skipped D, and I tried to figure out which one I liked best. I won't spoil it for you. Again, go watch that video, but I absolutely love Russell's Reserve. Anything that they put out in the single barrel format, I have the single rick houses are a little bit expensive for me. This one was a little bit expensive for me, and we'll talk about that during price, but this one is just something that I had to try. Russell's Reserve 13, I had batch number 3. I did not love it. A lot of people said batch number 1 was fantastic. Then as the different batches came out, people started comparing the batches, saying which one was good and which one was bad. I did not love my Russell's Reserve 15, so I was very, very scared to pull the trigger on this particular bottle because I hyped myself up so much for 13 and was let down. This, though, I do not think is going to be the case. At 117.2 proof, this sip's very easy. Let's talk about it, though, and give it a score. 7.0 if it drinks right at its proof. What would we blind this at? Just to give you a few stats, because I don't like to leave out people who are newer here. This is Russell's Reserve. This is coming out of Wild Turkey, 75% corn, 13% rye, 12% malted barley, and it is absolutely fantastic when it comes to drinkability. 117.2 is definitely pushing that higher envelope of things, right? We're not quite into the 130s yet, but I believe, I think 110 to 115 is where you can call something a little bit higher proof. I think anything under 100 is really not in the high proof range. I think anything over 120, we're talking 120 is high proof, if you ask me. 130 or a hazmat is obviously going to be something that we call hazmat. So I think 117 is definitely pushing higher proof, and I don't think this has, I didn't drink a lot of it because I did want to let this open up a little bit without diving too deep into it before doing my review here, but this is just so easy to sip. I don't know if I would put it on the crushable scale. I do think it has a little bit of heat behind it. Almost reminds me of Wild Turkey 101, not in the flavor profile by any means, but Wild Turkey 101 has this
really good heat behind it. It's kind of an ethanol-y heat. It's kind of a spicy heat. And I feel like I'm getting a little bit of remnants on that. But as far as 117.2, there's no way that I would even blind this anywhere close to that. I don't think it's quite a 9, okay? I don't think it's quite a 9 when it comes to drinkability, but I think it's maybe as damn close as it can be. Maybe it is a 9. Maybe we'll just call it a straight up 9 point. I'm not going to go 8.99. I'm going to give it a 9.00 when it comes to drinkability on this. I think that it's very, very easy to drink. I think that some people could maybe confuse the little bit of spice that you get on this with ethanol, but I don't think that's what it is on this, because I guarantee you when you get into the second glass on this, if you have 2 glasses of this on one night, you're going to be like, okay, there's no ethanol on this at all. So I'm going 9.0 when it comes to drinkability. This might be a 3-sipper kind of night. I gotta tell you, we haven't killed much of this, and that's again because I've been holding off for this review. I didn't want to drink too much. I do want to make sure we have some more around when we do our 2024 Whiskey of the Year, because I do think this is going to be a contender, as you probably already know. But let's get a taste on this. The thing about this is, I'm not a big person when it comes to nosing a glass. I can nose. Usually I'll get like a few different things, but nothing crazy, nothing like a lot of these professionals can get. So when I do these reviews, I don't normally nose, but some things stand out to me, and this glass is absolutely one of them. When I go to take a sip, it doesn't even give me an opportunity not to nose it. I get molasses and oak right on the nose on this, and that's coming from a guy that doesn't do anything like that. Again, right when I put it to my lips, I already get that aroma, which tells me that this is dense. It's heavy in the glass. You're not going to be searching for any of these flavors, and that translates right along to the taste on this, which is what we're going to get into next. How does this do when it comes to taste? I mean, just like the nose, the flavors jump out on the palate here. I'm telling you, this is like taking a bite of like a French toast casserole or something like that. Immediately, you get that Wild Turkey, that Russell's Reserve toffee note that I absolutely love on all of their products that I usually get. This one, though, comes at you with a little bit of cherry after that, and then a little bit of citrus as well. Then I move into like some warm baking spices. Again, maybe like some sugary cinnamon, maybe like some clove or something like that. Something that's not too like super spicy. It's not like a hot sauce spice or anything like that. It's more of those warm baking spices. Then it moves right into that age statement, but not the way that Russell's Reserve 13 did for me. Russell's Reserve, the 13 year was way over oaked for me. And again, I had batch 3, which I believe had 20-year-old whiskey in that. This one right here, it's giving me so much more complexity when it comes to the finish on this. That oak is a little bit more of a sweet oak. You get a little bit of a tobacco note, maybe like a hint of coffee on the very, very end. Again, leather in there as well. Again, that 15 years stands out, but it doesn't overwhelm the rest of the glass. I don't want to like jump ahead of myself here, but when I tell you that if I had a flavor profile, if I could build you a flavor profile in my mind, this is it. This is kind of what I'm building towards. There's a few other whiskeys that I've had in my days that have kind of come along with this as well. Another one of them was Wild Turkey Unforgotten. That was just another one of those things that Wild Turkey is something that I've always geared myself towards. So this one right here just seems to be like the best of the best of Russell's Reserve for me. I wish I had some other stuff that I can compare it to that other people consider the best of the best of Wild Turkey or Russell's Reserve. And I know it's out there for a lot of people, but for me, this is just what I'm looking for in a glass of whiskey. Everything about this glass is almost perfection for me. I mean, I forget the score that we gave Wild Turkey Unforgotten back in the day. We had a sample of that, and I am still looking for a bottle. If anybody has one laying around for a reasonable price, I will absolutely buy it from you. I think 13th Colony Double Oaked I had a sample of this year. That's on our list. There's not a lot coming out in 2024 that I've truly fell in love with. I know a lot of people are talking about this year's bomb burgers. There's the SIP survey that's going around. I don't know if you've seen this, but definitely check it out on social media. It's an awesome concept where bomb burgers is doing really well for 2024. I had an opportunity to buy one. My budget is just a little tight right now. If I could show you all the whiskey we had over here, I can show you why. That being said, I don't think it's perfection, but I think it's just about as damn near close as you can get for my particular flavor profile. I don't know what else I would be looking for. I don't know what else I would change on this particular flavor profile that would make me like it more. And that's kind of where I'm at on this. It's a very, very traditional bourbon. I think it tastes like a very traditional bourbon, and it's what I fell in love with when it came to bourbon. I will tell you, I'm going high 9s. I don't know if I've ever given a higher score than this, but I've got to go like a 9.85 when it comes to taste on this. I just can't imagine what would be better. There's always room for improvement. And again, this is why we do price separately, because when you get the price involved, it's obviously going to be different. But flavor-wise, taste-wise, 9.85 is where I got to put it. And then, of course, we obviously have to address the elephant in the room. The price on this is $250. So is it outrageous? Probably. Was I pissed off because when these originally dropped, the site crashed twice and I was willing to pay $250 for somebody who wasn't willing to put $250 into their own website? Yes, that made me mad. Was I also willing to jump at the opportunity to buy this for $250 sight unseen without ever trying it, without ever knowing how good it actually is? Yes, and maybe that's my problem and that's not your problem, but I will say I have no remorse. I have no buyer's remorse on picking this up for $250. I have no doubt in my mind that if I had another opportunity to pick this up, I think it was $285 after taxes and licenses or whatever I have to pay for after that. I think it was like $285. I have anything under $300. There's no question in my mind that I would pick this bottle up again. And that's telling me something, because there's a lot of hesitancy. Hesitancy? Is that the word that I'm looking for? I hesitate a lot when it comes to spending this much on whiskey. I leave bottles on the shelf for $150 if I don't truly know about them, or if I've never hit somebody up to tell me about them. A lot of the recommendations that I get are what I'm buying today. I listen to other people on Whiskey YouTube that I know way more than I do about these particular releases. People who know what the juice is when it's NDA. People who know what the whiskey tastes like because they've tried it. Those are the people that I trust, and I watch the YouTube videos just like you do. I just happen to have a bottle like this, and again, I don't know what my cap would be, and maybe I'll think about that for the rest of this video, but $250 is an easy buy for this particular release. Let's take this last sip and give it a score when it comes to price. I mean, we give it a 7.0 if it's an average tasting whiskey at an average drinkability at an average price. This is above average when it comes to all three of those things. But I got to tell you, I'm not mad at this price at all. We understand what we've got here. And again, during our My Thoughts on What I've Been Thinking, we're going to talk about value versus price and if that means anything to you. So I will say, we're back in the nines on this. I don't think I'm too upset. I think these are going to be higher going forward. Seeing that they could sell these things out immediately, why would they not at least combat that secondary market just a little bit more and go higher on these? I get it. It pisses me off. It pisses you off. Maybe one day that'll come back down. But in the meantime, $250 is not a bad price for this. Let's go like 9.13 because it's still not the greatest price of all time. So listen, we're going to pour up one more here because I promised you 3 for the night, and we're going to talk about my thoughts on what I've been thinking, which is the value versus the price, because I do think there is a difference, and I want to know your opinion on this. So there's obviously a secondary market, which means there's a value versus a price. And there's a reason that some things go on the secondary market and other things do not, even though maybe that price is the same. So we have things that hit the secondary market that are $500 for a $250 bottle. And then we have things that never hit the secondary market at a $250 bottle. So the question becomes, how does the value get set for something over what the price is? MSRP or SRP stands for manufacturer's suggested retail price, which means that Wild Turkey thinks this bottle is worth about $250. So they sell it to the distributor for a little bit less than that. The distributor is supposed to sell it for $250 to you who buys it for $250, and then everybody makes a little bit of money along the way. But it seems like these days, even the liquor stores are recognizing, hey, we've got something of extra special value here, so we're going to sell it for more than what they're suggesting the retail price is because we know the market demands that. So does value become supply and demand? What exactly is driving the value, and what exactly are you looking for? Because there's got to be a cutoff at some point. So what exactly is it that you're looking for? If you're on these secondary websites, are you seeing something like Russell's Reserve go up for $750 and nobody's biting, but somebody's biting at $500? So now the value is set at $500, or how are you seeing that work? Because for me, I look at everything the bottle has to offer and then also look at my own particular portfolio of what I enjoy and what I like to really set the value for myself. But I'm curious how other people set that value. But listen, that's enough about all that. Let's head back and find out exactly what this bottle scored and see if it's number 1 on our list. Cheers, y'all. It's number 1 on our list, 9.33, folks, and that just beats out the 13th Colony Double Oak 2024 release, and I thought that thing was absolutely fantastic. Now, flavor profile wise, I don't always love those double oaked bourbons. I do love that 13th Colony. That's why it's number 2 on the list. You can go watch that video as well, but I gotta tell you, flavor wise, I just don't understand what I could really find better than this when it comes to the flavor. Sure, you can take price into it, which we do, which is why this is a 9.33 and not a 10.0, because at the flavor alone, this is up there in the 10s, as you can see. This right here is just a masterpiece when it comes to exactly what I'm looking for in whiskey. And it took me, what are we talking about, 5-6 years to figure out exactly what I enjoy. And it probably 5 years ago, I probably would have hated this. And this is the wonderful thing about whiskey is the journey that you take from an 80 proof product all the way up to 117 or even hazmat, and then really finding the balance on something in between at maybe you don't love a 20-year-old, maybe you don't love the 5-year-old whiskey, maybe you love something right there in between 15, 12 years, maybe you don't love to drink hazmat all the time, maybe you're over the 80 proof watered down stuff, then you find something at 117.2. But this for me, again, another reason that I would value this bottle is because I'm going to enjoy this time and time again. I don't think I'll ever get tired of this bottle of whiskey. Absolutely fantastic. Chef's kiss to Russell's Reserve. But listen, if you enjoy this type of content at all, please help me out and click that like and subscribe button. I'm almost at 10,000 here on YouTube, which is absolutely crazy. Check us out on Instagram, almost at 20K over there, which is also crazy. Check out our Patreon and Discord, both those links in the description below. Please don't drink and drive. Always drink responsibly. Stay healthy, stay happy, and stay finding exactly what you like in the whiskey world. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Cheers, y'all.